Welcome to a new chapter of The House by Shadow Mountain, a dark fantasy series by Stories by Candlelight. This is an original story created exclusively for this channel. If you enjoy immersive storytelling, I'd truly appreciate it if you like. Subscribe and follow the series. Now, let's begin. Snow fell differently that morning. Kathrin noticed it before anyone else. The flakes didn't drift or spiral the way they should. They fell straight down, heavy and deliberate, like the mountain was placing them one by one. She stood at the front window, journal tucked under her arm, watching the world turn white. "The snow's wrong," she murmured. Mikkel looked up from the table. "How?" "It's listening," she said. Her father paused mid-motion, coffee cup hovering near his mouth. "Snow doesn't listen." "This snow does," Mikkel replied quietly. Kathrin didn't argue. She could feel it now. Not a whisper, not a voice, but pressure. A low hum beneath everything, vibrating in her bones. The mark on her wrist responded faintly, a cool pulse under her skin. The house creaked once, sharp, authoritative. Mikkel stiffened. "That's a warning." "About what?" her father asked. "About leaving," Mikkel said. Kathrin's stomach tightened. "We weren't going to." "You will," Mikkel said. "Soon, not far, but enough." Her father frowned. "Enough for what?" "For it to notice you're not under the roof," Mikkel said. Kathrin turned slowly. "You mean the house won't protect me if I step outside?" "It will," he said. "But not the same way. The farther you go, the more it has to choose what to sacrifice." That didn't sound comforting. The journal in Kathrin's arms grew warm. She opened it instinctively. A new entry had appeared overnight. The house cannot shield her forever. It can only prepare her. Her breath caught. "What does that mean?" her father asked. Mikkel didn't answer immediately. He stared at the page as if seeing something else beneath the words. "It means today matters," he said. The house groaned again, deeper this time, and the sound traveled through the floor toward the back of the property. Kathrin felt a pull in her chest. "Where?" she whispered. Mikkel followed her gaze. "The old path." Her father's eyes sharpened. "What old path?" "The one that runs along the edge of the mountain," Mikkel said. "The one no one uses anymore." Kathrin swallowed. She'd seen it once as a child. A narrow trail disappearing into trees, half buried by snow and time. The mark on her wrist pulsed faster. "No," her father said. "Absolutely not." The house lights flickered, not in disagreement, but in urgency. Kathrin closed the journal. "If I don't go, what happens?" Mikkel's jaw tightened. "Then it comes closer. Closer than echo walkers. Closer than whispers." Her father ran a hand through his hair. "So you're saying we just walk toward the mountain?" "No," Mikkel said. "We walk toward what the house is trying to show her before the mountain does." Kathrin felt the pull sharpen, not fear, but anticipation. "Am I going alone?" she asked. Mikkel looked at her. "No," he said. "But someone else shouldn't come." Her father's voice was immediate. "Not happening." Mikkel held his gaze. "If you go, it will use your fear against her." Silence. Kathrin stepped closer to her father. "Please." He stared at her, at the frost-marked wrist, the journal in her arms, the calm certainty in her eyes, and finally exhaled. "Be back before dark," he said hoarsely. Kathrin nodded. Outside, the snow thickened. The moment she stepped past the threshold, the hum intensified. The house didn't pull her back. It let her go. Mikkel followed close behind, boots crunching softly. The property line passed beneath her feet, invisible but unmistakable. The air changed instantly, colder, sharper, alive. Kathrin gasped. "It feels like being noticed," Mikkel finished. The forest swallowed them quickly. The old path emerged beneath the snow, narrow and winding, exactly where she remembered it. The mark burned colder with every step. "Mikkel," she whispered. "What are we really going to find out here?" He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was tight. "Why the mountain hasn't taken you yet." Kathrin's breath fogged thick in the air. They walked on. Behind them, the house stood silent, watching, and somewhere above them, buried deep in stone, something shifted, slow and deliberate, as if turning its full attention toward the path. For the first time in decades, the forest swallowed sound the deeper they walked. Snow muted every step, every breath, until even Kathrin's heartbeat felt too loud. The path beneath their feet was narrow and uneven, packed hard by age rather than use. It curved in ways that didn't match the slope of the land, dipping where it shouldn't, rising where there was no incline. This path didn't used to feel like this, Kathrin murmured. Mikkel didn't slow. It changes when it wants to. That's reassuring, she muttered. The hum beneath the ground deepened. Not louder, closer. It vibrated through her boots, into her bones. The mark on her wrist pulsed in sync, cold and steady. Like a compass needle locking onto north, Kathrin stopped abruptly. Mikkel, she whispered. Do you hear that? He froze. Hear what? She tilted her head. It wasn't a sound exactly, more like pressure shaped into rhythm, a cadence. It's counting, she said. Mikkel's face tightened. Then we're being measured. A sharp gust of wind tore through the trees, rattling branches overhead. Snow cascaded down in thick sheets, briefly blinding them. When it cleared, the forest looked different. The trees stood closer together now. The path behind them had narrowed. Too narrow. Kathrin turned slowly. We didn't come this way. Mikkel swallowed. No, we didn't. Her pulse spiked. Did the path move? It didn't move, he said. It adjusted. The hum surged, pleased. Kathrin's breath fogged thick in the air. Why would it do that? Mikkel hesitated. Because it wants to see what you'll do when you realize you don't have full control. The mark flared faintly. That's not fair, she snapped. It's not meant to be. The ground ahead dipped sharply. The path descended into a shallow ravine where the snow lay undisturbed, smooth as untouched linen. In the center of it, a symbol, carved into the snow deep and precise, as if pressed down by something heavy rather than traced by hand. 2 overlapping crescents, the same shape from the journal, the same shape from her mother's necklace, the same shape that lived beneath her skin. Kathrin's breath hitched. It's marking the path. Mikkel nodded grimly. Or marking you. The hum shifted again. Closer now, intimate. Kathrin felt a tug in her chest. Not fear, not longing, but recognition. This place, she whispered. It remembers me. Mikkel turned sharply. What do you mean? She struggled to put it into words. It's like I've been here before. Not like a memory, like an echo. His face paled. That's not possible. But it feels true. The trees creaked as if leaning in to listen. Mikkel exhaled slowly. Then we don't linger. They stepped around the symbol. The moment Kathrin crossed its edge, the world tilted. Not physically, internally. Her vision blurred for a split second, and suddenly she was somewhere else, not standing on the path, standing within it. The forest peeled back like a curtain, revealing layers beneath, old stone, ancient roots, veins of frost-lit energy threading through the earth. She could see how the mountain reached outward, how the land bent itself to its will. Kathrin! Mikkel's voice sounded distant. Kathrin, look at me! She blinked. The forest snapped back into place. Her knees buckled. Mikkel caught her just before she fell. Her breath came in ragged gasps. I saw it. Saw what? He demanded. How it moves, she whispered. How it touches everything. Mikkel went still. That means it's letting you look, he said quietly. Which means it thinks you're ready. For what? He didn't answer. Instead, he did something unexpected. He stepped forward, directly into the center of the symbol. Mikkel! Kathrin lunged. What are you doing? He turned back to her, jaw tight. Buying you time? The hum surged violently. The air dropped 10 degrees in a heartbeat. Snow lifted from the ground, spiraling upward instead of falling. Mikkel, get out of there, she shouted. He didn't move. I've walked this path my whole life, he said steadily. It listens to me too. Not like it listens to you, but enough. The ground beneath him cracked with a sharp report. Frost raced outward from his boots. Kathrin felt panic slam into her chest. You said it preys on longing. What if it uses you? His eyes flickered, just for a moment. That's the risk, he admitted. The hum deepened into something almost like a voice. Not words, but intention. 2 may enter, only 1 may leave unchanged. Kathrin felt the meaning land inside her like a stone. Mikkel, she whispered. Step back. He shook his head. If I do, it will refocus on you. The frost climbed higher up his legs now, creeping fast. Kathrin's mark flared bright enough to hurt. No, she said. You don't get to decide that alone. She stepped into the symbol with him. The forest roared. Not sound, presence. Pressure slammed into her from all sides, squeezing her breath, her thoughts, her sense of self. The mark burned icy hot. The symbol beneath them glowed faintly through the snow. Mikkel grabbed her arm. "Kathrin, this is too much." "Look at me," she said fiercely. "You told me to breathe with you. Do it now." He met her gaze. She focused on him, on his voice, his warmth, his weight anchoring her in the storm. The pressure eased. Just a fraction. The mountain hesitated. Kathrin felt it then, confusion. It wasn't used to resistance that adapted. She lifted her chin. "You don't decide who leaves," she whispered, not aloud, but inward, to the land itself. "Not yet." The symbol flickered. The hum wavered. Then slowly, the frost receded from Mikkel's legs. The pressure loosened its grip. The forest exhaled. They stumbled out of the symbol together, collapsing into the snow. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Mikkel laughed breathlessly. "That was incredibly stupid." Kathrin let out a shaky breath that turned into something, dangerously close to a laugh. "You started it." The forest around them felt quieter, not gone, watching, but uncertain. Mikkel pushed himself upright. "You shouldn't have stepped in. You shouldn't have either." He looked at her, really looked at her now, something open and unguarded in his eyes. "You changed it." Her pulse skipped. "Changed what?" "The rules," he said softly. "It expected you to choose yourself or choose me." "And I didn't?" "You chose both," he replied. At the same time, the mountain didn't like that. A low rumble rolled through the earth, distant, displeased. Mikkel's expression hardened. "We need to go, now." "Why?" "Because we just taught it something new," he said. The trees ahead shifted, branches bending aside to reveal something they hadn't seen before. A narrow stone opening at the base of the mountain. Dark, breathing cold air. Kathrin's stomach dropped. "That wasn't there before," she whispered. Mikkel's voice was grim. "No," he said. "It just decided to show it to you." The opening at the base of the mountain should not have existed. Kathrin knew that with a certainty that settled deep in her bones. She had walked these woods as a child, climbed these slopes with scraped knees and frozen fingers. There had never been stone there, never a hollow shaped like a waiting mouth. Cold air poured from it in slow, steady breaths. The mountain was breathing. Mikkel stood rigid beside her, eyes fixed on the dark opening. "It's showing you the entrance," he said quietly. Kathrin's pulse thundered. "I thought it needed me to open it." "It does," he replied. "This is it asking whether you will." The ground beneath their feet vibrated faintly, like a held note. Snow slid down the stone around the opening, revealing smooth, ancient rock beneath, nothing jagged, nothing broken, shaped, deliberate. Kathrin felt the mark on her wrist tighten, like a knot pulling inward. "I don't want to go in," she whispered. Mikkel nodded. "Good. That doesn't sound reassuring." "It means you're still choosing," he said. "If you wanted to go in, that would be worse." The hum deepened, threading through her thoughts. Not words, intent, curiosity, expectation. Kathrin took one step back. The forest creaked. Branches bent inward. Snow fell heavier. The path behind them narrowed again, closing like a throat. Mikkel's jaw clenched. "It's not offering forever." Kathrin's breath came shallow. "What happens if I say no?" "It will remember," he said. "And it will try again. Harder." She swallowed. "And if I say yes?" "Then the mountain learns how to keep you." That answer chilled her more than the cold air spilling from the entrance. Kathrin wrapped her arms around herself. "You said someone doesn't come back later." Mikkel stiffened. "I saw it on your face earlier," she continued. "Before, when you talked about this path, about the rules." He didn't look at her. "Mikkel," she said softly. "Who doesn't come back?" The silence stretched long enough to hurt. Finally he spoke. "The first time the entrance opens willingly," he said. "The mountain always takes something in return." Kathrin's stomach dropped. "Something like what?" "A guide," he said. "A witness. Someone it can anchor itself to." Her heart slammed. "No." Mikkel turned to her then, eyes dark and steady. "Not today." She shook her head, panic rising. "You don't get to decide that." "I do," he said quietly. "Because I've already been marked in a way you haven't." The mark on her wrist flared in sharp protest. "What do you mean?" she demanded. Mikkel pulled back his glove. Kathrin sucked in a breath. A faint scar traced across his palm. Not frost. Not glowing. Old. Burned into the skin in a jagged crescent shape. Distorted but unmistakably similar to the symbol in the journal. I stepped too close once, he said. Years ago, when I thought if I understood it, I could stop it. Her throat tightened. And it let me go, he said. But it never stopped watching me. The entrance pulsed, as if acknowledging him. Kathrin felt anger surge through her fear. You were willing to let it take you? I was willing to make sure it didn't take you. The ground shuddered, displeased. Kathrin stepped closer to the opening before she could stop herself. Cold wrapped around her ankles instantly, not painful, inviting. Mikkel grabbed her arm. Kathrin. No, she said fiercely. I'm not letting it decide between us. The hum spiked. The air pressed inward, thick and heavy, like the moment before diving underwater. Kathrin closed her eyes. For the first time, she didn't try to block the sensation. She listened. Not to the mountain. To herself. To the house far behind them. To her mother's words. To the steady truth forming beneath the fear. I won't go in, she said clearly aloud. The mountain stilled. And I won't offer you anyone else. The pressure surged violently. Snow blasted outward from the opening in a ring, throwing both of them backward. Kathrin hit the ground hard. Breath knocked from her lungs. Mikkel landed beside her, cursing under his breath. The entrance darkened. The stone surface rippled as if something massive shifted behind it. You cannot refuse forever. The thought slid into Kathrin's mind. Not a whisper, but a certainty. She pushed herself upright, shaking. Watch me. The mountain roared. Not in sound, in fury. The forest convulsed, trees bending, snow lifting in spirals. The entrance began to close, stone folding inward like muscle contracting. Mikkel grabbed her hand. Now move. They ran. The path behind them reappeared in jagged fragments, reshaping itself with every step. Branches snapped at their coats. Snow clutched at their boots like hands. Behind them, the entrance sealed shut with a deep, grinding finality. The forest fell silent. They didn't stop running until the house came back into view. Solid. Dark, waiting. The moment Kathrin crossed the boundary, the pressure vanished. The hum cut off. She collapsed to her knees, gasping. Mikkel dropped beside her, hands braced on the ground. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Mikkel laughed, short, disbelieving. You just did something no one has ever done. Kathrin looked up at him. What? You refused it, he said. And you didn't let it take anyone instead. Her chest tightened. That doesn't mean it's over. No, he agreed. It means it's personal now. The house creaked behind them, not in fear, but in approval. Kathrin pushed herself to her feet. You said the mountain learns. Mikkel nodded slowly. Then it just learned, she said, that I won't play by its rules. High above them, hidden by cloud and stone, Shadow Mountain shifted, slowly, deliberately. Not retreating, adapting. They barely made it inside before the house reacted. The moment Kathrin crossed the threshold, the temperature jumped, not warmer exactly, but steadier, like the walls were sealing her in. The door shut behind them on its own with a heavy, final click. The lock slid into place without anyone touching it. Her father looked up from the kitchen, eyes wide. What happened out there? Kathrin tried to answer, but her throat was too tight. Her lungs still felt packed with cold air that didn't belong to the world, above ground. Mikkel leaned a hand against the wall, head bowed as if listening. The house is angry, he murmured. The house is what? Her father snapped. Mikkel straightened slowly. Not angry at her, angry at the mountain. As if to confirm it, the beams overhead groaned, deep, strained like a warning growl. The lights flickered once, then steadied into a brighter glow than usual. Kathrin's mark pulsed, then cooled like it was being soothed. Her father stepped closer, staring at her wrist. It's still there. It's always there now, Mikkel said. It won't fade again. Kathrin swallowed. It tried to make me go in. Her father's face hardened. And you didn't. No, she said, and I told it I wouldn't offer anyone else. Mikkel's eyes lifted, something like pride flickering through the exhaustion. That was the right choice. Her father's voice was rough. What did it do when you refused? Kathrin hesitated. It got angry. Mikkel let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh. Good. Her father stared at him. Good? It means it didn't get what it wanted, Mikkel said. And it means it can't pretend this is a gentle calling anymore. Kathrin sank onto a chair. The journal slipped from her hands onto the table with a soft thud. The moment it touched the wood, the pages fluttered open. Not randomly, to a page near the end, a page that had been blank before. Her mother's handwriting appeared in neat, steady lines as if written with calm certainty. If she refuses the entrance, the house will tighten its rules. She must obey them, or the protection will crack. Kathrin's stomach dropped. Rules? Mikkel's expression tightened. The house has boundaries too. It isn't limitless. Her father leaned over the page. What rules? More ink formed beneath the first lines, slowly, deliberately. Rule 1, do not open the door after dark. Rule 2, do not speak the mountain's name aloud. Rule 3, if he bleeds, she must not follow. Kathrin froze. If he bleeds? She whispered. Mikkel went still. Her father blinked. He? Who is he? Kathrin stared at the words until they blurred. Her pulse thundered. Mikkel's voice was quiet. It means me. Kathrin looked up at him sharply. Why would it mean you? He didn't answer immediately. His jaw worked as if he were swallowing something bitter. Mikkel, she pressed. Why does my mother's journal have a rule about you? He finally spoke, voice low. Because your mother knew I would be part of this. How? Kathrin demanded. How could she know you? Mikkel's gaze flicked to the attic ceiling, as if searching for permission from the house itself. Then he looked back at her, expression raw. Because she came back, he said. Kathrin's breath caught. What? Mikkel's hands clenched. Your mother came back to the village once, years ago, in the middle of winter. She went to my family's house. Her father's face tightened. That's not true. She never... She did, Mikkel said firmly. She came because my mother was already gone. Because she knew what the mountain takes and what it leaves behind. Kathrin felt dizzy. What did she say to you? Mikkel hesitated, then shook his head. Not me, to my father. But I heard parts. Kathrin's voice cracked. Tell me. Mikkel swallowed hard. She said, the mountain would return to the bloodline, that it would mark someone again, and when it did, it would try to use the person closest to her as leverage. Kathrin's heart slammed. Closest? Mikkel's eyes held hers. You. The word hung between them like a fragile thread. Kathrin's skin prickled. Her mind flashed back to the voice mimicking him at the door, the way it had used comfort instead of fear. Her longing. Her weakness. Mikkel. Her father's voice rose, furious and panicked. So you're telling me my daughter is in danger because she might care. He couldn't say it. Kathrin could. She took a trembling breath. The mountain can use feelings. Mikkel nodded. It can use anything that opens you. Kathrin stared down at the journal again, at the third rule that felt like a knife. If he bleeds, she must not follow. Her throat tightened painfully. What does that mean? Mikkel's voice was barely above a whisper. It means it will try to lure you with me. Silence fell. The house creaked once, soft, almost sympathetic. Kathrin's father sank into a chair as if his legs suddenly couldn't hold him. This is insane, he muttered. This is insane. Kathrin stood slowly, spine straightening despite the fear. Then we don't let it. Mikkel looked at her. You don't understand how strong the pull will be. Kathrin met his gaze. Then we prepare. We make our own rules. The house lights flickered once. Sharp approval. Kathrin closed the journal gently. You said I need to learn the mountain's name. Mikkel's expression changed instantly. Not yet. But it's part of the rules, she insisted. Don't speak it aloud. That means you know it. Mikkel's jaw clenched. I know a piece of it, not the full name. If you say it wrong, it doesn't protect you. It gives it access. Kathrin swallowed. Then we learn it properly. Mikkel didn't argue. He looked exhausted. More exhausted than he should have been from a short walk. Kathrin noticed his hand. A thin line of blood seeped from his palm where the old crescent scar had cracked open. Her stomach dropped. Mikkel, she whispered. Your hand. He glanced down and swore softly, curling his fingers into a fist to hide it. Kathrin took a step toward him instinctively. The house groaned, loud, immediate, like a warning siren. Kathrin froze. Rule 3. If he bleeds, she must not follow. Mikkel's eyes met hers, urgent. Don't move. Kathrin's breath shook. Why? He swallowed hard. Because if you step toward me right now, the mountain will know exactly how to pull you next. Behind them, the hallway darkened for a heartbeat. A soft whisper slid through the air. So quiet it could have been the house settling, except it wasn't. Follow him. Kathrin's mark flared icy blue. Mikkel backed away from her, eyes wide with fear, not of the wound, but of what it meant. It's already trying. Kathrin's knees felt weak. What do we do? Mikkel's voice dropped to a whisper. We obey the house. The whisper came again, sweeter now, almost gentle. Come, Kathrin. He's hurt. Her heart clenched. The pull was immediate, sharp, instinctive, terrifying. Every part of her wanted to reach him. Help him, hold him, make it stop. And that was exactly why the journal had warned her. Kathrin clenched her fists until her nails bit into her palms. No. The house hummed steady under her feet, like a hand on her back. Kathrin forced herself to step away from Mikkel instead of toward him. The whisper hissed. Wrong choice. The lights flickered violently. Mikkel's face went pale as he stared at his bleeding palm. It's learned the rule, he whispered. And it's going to try to break it.